Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to a Brilliant Businesses podcast. My name's Nick Bryant, and I'm here at the Charles Cox Property Group, and I'm with the Property and Office Manager, Andy Marsh. Hi, Andy.
Hello.
How are you?
Yeah, very well, thank you.
Good. Yeah, very well, thank you. Good to see you. So let's talk a little bit about your role and what's involved in being the Property and Office Manager here at Charles Cox Property Group.
From the property point of view, I look after a number of properties across this local area.
Yeah.
Most of my properties are from Peacehaven through to Seaford.
Okay.
And they vary from very small blocks of flats with, sometimes as few as two properties, up to larger blocks with 40, 50 blocks.
Really?
40, 50, yeah.
Okay, that takes a bit of managing.
It can do, yeah. It's very varied. There's lots of different things. It's never a dull day, and never 2 days the same.
Yeah, I can imagine. So that's across all of Sussex, is it? All those properties?
My properties, we because we have a few property managers, we tend to group their area by where they're based.
Right.
So I'm based here in the office in Newhaven.
Yep.
So my properties are Seaford through to Peacehaven.
Okay.
The other property managers that work from the Eastbourne office,
Yes. Yep.
generally cover properties Eastbourne, Hastings way.
Makes sense, doesn't it? Yeah,
Yeah.
and Brighton likewise, I guess.
Indeed.
And I was talking to Anna earlier about how that helps your business, because for little things like people collecting keys, if they're in that area, it just makes life more simple for them.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Collecting keys, and also some of the older residents that still like to deal with cheque. They still like to come
Do
in
they?
and knock on the door and hand over a cheque to us, which we will accept that gratefully.
Yeah. I mean, if that's what they want, then you look after the people, don't you? A term that gets bounced around in your industry a bit is called enfranchisement, which perhaps you could tell us what that means and what that is.
Okay. When a block first is developed,
Yep.
essentially the freehold of that property can either remain with the freeholder if they wish, and you will pay ground rent to the freeholder,
Yep.
or sometimes the freeholder may set up a company to manage the affairs of the block, and the freehold is owned by the company.
Right.
Sometimes, however, though, as the block changes hands, you get to a point where the residents of that block are not terribly happy with the way perhaps the freeholder is running things.
Okay.
Perhaps they don't like the way the insurance is done, or
A number of things.
Yeah,
I
a number of
guess.
things.
Yeah.
Any way
Yeah.
that the property might be managed that doesn't isn't to their liking. If more than 50% of the people within a block feel the same way,
Yep.
they can essentially get together and
Do-
take not the freehold of the property, but the management of the property away from the freeholder.
Okay.
So they would still pay ground rent to the freeholder,
Yeah.
but they would have their own destiny in their own hands. So
Okay.
so they can enfranchise from the freeholder to a right to manage company, an RTM they're known as.
Okay. Right.
The RTM can then manage its own affairs, and in that case they can employ a company like us to manage it on their behalf.
Okay.
So basically it takes the control, it gives the control back to the residents of the property, or the leaseholders of the properties.
Yeah. So you sort of hold the hand through the process of that with people that are thinking about taking that route within their property.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, we've done that on a number of occasions where some people have come to us and they said, we're not happy with the way that our blocks run. Can you help us? And Matthew has taken those people and helped them to go through the legal hoops that you must jump through to enfranchise and become an RTM.
Yeah, it's a good thing, because I'm sure a lot of private residents have that problem with their property, whether it's, I don't know, whether the bins aren't being emptied, or a decision to put scaffolding upside or outside or anything like that, just to, is not done correctly. They can take that over and do it themselves, basically.
Indeed.
Effectively, yeah.
Indeed, yeah. I mean, it's even something. If for example, they're not happy with even something as simple as the way the car park's managed.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
that can be a real big thing for some people.
Yeah.
If you have a block of flats and the car park's not managed properly, and you want to put in a car park management company, you can apply to the freeholder. The freeholder may well say, no, I'm not interested in doing that at this time. Whereas if you are, if the block is enfranchised and they now can control their own destiny, they can do that if they wish.
Yeah, that's a good. I'm sure a lot of people don't know that exists. So hopefully, if anyone, when people are listening to this, hopefully if they want to get in touch about that, because you can talk them through that. So property and office manager. So as far as the office side of things, you sort of just help with running the office, making it look presentable, making sure there's paper in the photocopier, just those sort of roles, really.
Yep, indeed. That sort of general day-to-day run of the office, making sure that it looks presentable when people come through the door, but also silly things like, do we have enough pens? Do we?
Well, it's important,
pens,
isn't it?
paper.
Yeah.
Making sure the photocopier's got ink, and also the general IT management. We employ a separate IT management company, but there's always the little things. My screen doesn't work. I can't print. All these little things that I do on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, you need to know all that stuff.
It makes life a lot quicker.
Yeah. And the IT system that you use, that you mentioned earlier, that's like a management software which is bespoke for this industry.
Yeah. It's we use a piece of software called Resident.
Okay.
Resident manage all of the software manages all of our customer relationships.
Yeah.
We know the names, addresses of the blocks, the leaseholders, the directors of those blocks, and it also manages the accounts and the finances, so that we can tell pretty much at a glance. If somebody phones us up and says, "Could you give me a statement of my account?" we can press a few buttons and it's there straight away without having to dig through reams of old paperwork.
So do you get involved in, if someone new comes into the company, just training them on how to use that software?
Absolutely.
Yeah, because that's it's probably quite a task, because it's in depth.
It is, and it's also to do that, the person coming in has to understand some of those prerequisites. So if you've got a general person who's not worked in this industry before, there's a fair few things like enfranchisement. What does that mean? That need to be explained to people. What's the difference between an RTM and a freeholder and a management company?
Yeah.
And the person's got to understand that difference so that they know how to run the software properly.
Yeah. So how long have you been in the industry?
In total, just under 2 years now.
Okay,
I came from engineering, which is a very different role. And I came to this role, initially as an admin assistant, just to get my foot back in the work door. But Matthew's, given me the opportunity to learn, and done a lot of training courses.
Yeah.
And now, let's say, block manager.
Yes, good for you, man. And I think Charles Cox Property Group is, as I was saying to Anna earlier, it seems to be growing and growing and growing. You're doing some really good things and helping people with property and helping people, get into a nice living situation as well, which is really cool.
Yeah.
What do you like about it the best? What's the best job satisfaction for you?
Job satisfaction is a tricky one, because it's a bit like a game of whack-a-mole. There's always things popping up, but it is good when you've got you finally got a big project over the line.
Yes,
that's the real. That's the
celebration.
It is when you've been working on something for 6 months. Because some projects, if we're looking at major works on a property, that we can start that a year or two before it gets there. And when you finally get that over the line and you send that last payment off that everybody's happy, that's where it really gets good fun. Yeah,
that's where the gratitude comes. Cool. Thanks, Andy. It's been great to talk to you. You're obviously doing a great job here at Charles Cox Property Group. Matt speaks very highly of you. So, if anyone wants to get in touch with Charles Cox Property or Andy, all the details are on this podcast, and they can contact you via your website, Charles Cox Property Group website. Thanks again, Andy, and we'll see you for another podcast soon. Thank you.
Pleasure. Thank you. Bye.